Hi, my name is Steve Parr. I'm a Vancouver business lawyer, and today we're going to talk about family trusts. So first of all, what is a family trust? A family trust is a structure that facilitates the distribution of wealth to the beneficiaries that are named inside of a trust agreement. So typically this is going to be your children, your grandchildren, your spouse, and other persons that you name as beneficiaries. This could also include a holding corporation. So how does it all work? So a trust agreement is established whereby a trustee is given the power to manage and then distribute the funds that are contained within the trust to the beneficiaries. A trustee is responsible for distributing the assets that are contained within the trust, and typically will have wide or even absolute discretion over who receives what amount and when. So if you have more money than you need to use during this lifetime and you would like to distribute some of that wealth to the next generation, a family trust, also known as a inter vivos trust, can be a useful mechanism for achieving that outcome. So if you were to give some of those funds over to your children or grandchildren as a gift, that means that they have outright control over what they do with those funds. Whereas if the funds are put inside of a trust and then distributed according to the terms of that trust, that means there's a greater degree of control for the beneficiaries, the recipients of those funds. So this can be particularly useful where you have children or grandchildren that perhaps you have a strained relationship with, that you don't quite trust, perhaps they're not all that good with money, or they have other disabilities that prevent them from being appropriate stewards of the funds. Additionally, there are other non-tax benefits to using a family trust. For instance, a family trust can be used to hold shares of a privately held family corporation. So instead of having children or grandchildren be shareholders of the family corporation, a family trust can be used to hold the shares in the corporation. So this would permit income that comes from the family corporation to be held within the family trust and then distributed to the children or the grandchildren per the terms of the trust agreement, or namely the trustee's discretion. And typically the trustee is going to be the same person who built the family corporation themselves. This can be a much more advantageous way of retaining more control over the family assets, because the family corporation, when you introduce new shareholders, then of course the shareholders will often have some say in the management and day-to-day operations of the corporation. Additionally, shareholders of a privately held corporation are also going to be receiving dividends, and dividends have to be paid out per the bylaws or the articles of the corporation. So using a family trust structure instead allows the person who is the trustee of the family trust to retain absolute discretion over who receives what and when. So a family trust can be brought in as a shareholder of a privately held corporation through a relatively simple transaction called an estate freeze. And you can discuss with your accountant if this would be an appropriate solution for you. Now, because a trust holds assets in the names of a beneficiary, this can also be helpful for creditor protection. So in the event where a creditor or another person sues a beneficiary, they are not going to be able to come after the assets that are held in the family trust for the benefit of the beneficiary. This may also be helpful in the event of a marital breakdown, as the assets are held for the benefit of the beneficiaries. The beneficiaries do not legally own the assets that are held within the family trust. So in the event of a separation, the assets that are held within the trust may not become subject to a division under a separation agreement. Finally, there are other significant tax benefits. So number one, the assets that are held within a family trust do not form a part of your estate, which means they are not going to be subject to probate fees. Probate fees amount to 1.4% of the total assets. Secondly, the multiplication of the lifetime capital gains exemption can be used through a family trust structure. And additionally, the prescribed rate loan strategy can also be used. These are two fairly complex strategies that you should discuss with your accountant. And additionally, I'm going to be producing other videos which break down these concepts in greater detail. Thank you very much for watching. I hope this has provided you with a little bit of insight into family trusts and why they might be beneficial. So if you have any other questions around family trusts and you would like to reach out directly, please don't hesitate. And as always, please subscribe. Thank you for watching.